Good afternoon, YouTube. It's 21st of July now. I think it's a Friday, is it? Yeah, Friday afternoon, 4:30. Got myself a cheap and nasty tap and die set by Toolzone. Give me a minute here till I get it out the box. Fuck's sake. I need a fucking decent workshop. I'm sick of this shit. Right. Just everything is fucking designed to be fucking awkward. They do it on fucking purpose, don't they? Fucking shit, what the fuck's that? Right. Keep the head, Paul, keep the head. Okay, it's this here, yeah? A little bit of plastic cover. It's designed to protect the tools from dampness, I guess. Condensation. Helps protect them from rusting. But what would it have taken to make a little depression with a raised bit in the middle so that you could get your fingers in and pick it up and pull it out, you know? I mean, start fucking thinking what you're doing, you pricks. I mean, come on. Cheap and nasty, right? Absolute dirt. These dies, I think the only thing that taps and dies, the only use that I have for these is to clean an existing thread, okay? They wouldn't have cut fucking butter. Just utter shit. Now, I shouldn't get so angry because I knew that was the case before I bought them, right? This is British Standard Whitworth. In numerous different sizes. And they've endeavoured to save every little drop of aluminium. Even the die holder here, yeah. Normally on the back side of that would be a square, but you can see here it's got a countersink on it. Now that will maybe help get the die all the way down to the bottom of a bolt or a stud or something, you know. But this here, you can tell it's just very, very light and flimsy. This here, I don't know what that's made out of, but it's not steel. It's some sort of crud. You know, you'll bend that. I think, you know, that'll. If you put any pressure on that, that'll bend or snap. That is if the dies don't fuck up first. Now, I really need to study up on my metals, okay? But I don't know if the camera will focus on this, but the surface finish is not good, right? You know, there it looks quite shiny maybe, yeah? I don't know if the camera's going to focus. I'll try it. Why is it that in this day and age we have to fuck around with all this fucking technology and tools and none of it's any good? There's so much shit in the market. I mean, where's our standards gone? You know, we usually have British standards, you know. Right. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a close-in shot of the actual. It's almost like the granular structure of the metal, yeah. That's maybe about the best I can get there. There's a sort of fuzziness or you can see the very bright reflection from my window just above my thumbnail there, yeah? But then as you move around onto this silver area, yeah, this sort of greyish silver, and while that is still reflective, you can see I don't know how to describe it. It's not a mirror finish, yeah, is what I'm trying to say. It's not. It's almost like you've got porosity in it, very fine porosity, or when they've ground that surface, because I do believe it is ground, that the material that is made from isn't dense enough to polish up to a mirror finish. So when you polish it, you're always going to have hills and valleys. You know, you're going to have, well, you'll be knocking the tops off the hills, but you'll still be left with the valleys, yeah. And the more if you grind down to the bottom of the valleys, you'll be opening up new valleys next to it, yeah. So there'll always be this sort of porosity in the metal, yeah. It's going to be all the way through the material. So I don't know what that is. Now, if you look there, there's a ridge right there. I don't know what that is. Just another indication of the shoddiness of the metal or the workmanship. Now, having said all this, you know, this little rant. This is I've just seen something else actually. They've put a retaining countersink here and a retaining countersink here, and they've looked at other dies and they've seen that there's a slot here, yeah. But they've thought they'd save some time and not actually cut all the way through. So they haven't actually appreciated what that slot is for. The slot in most dies is there so you can control how tight a bite it takes on the metal. The tighter you put these two holes here will retain your die in the correct position, and then as you screw the screw into this slot, which is normally all the way through, you can expand or not. You can expand the die for a looser fit, okay? Now, when I say expand it, I'm just meaning just the merest fraction, yeah? But that helps to try and get the right fit when you're making a thread. Because these, while they're, you know, probably machined to, you know, a reason, well, I don't know if they're reasonable or not, to be honest with you. I do know that the tap that I used this afternoon, I used a 1/2 inch British Standard Whitworth to clean the threads out. That went into the existing threads without taking much metal off, yeah. So it might be a case that it's a little bit undersized possibly rather than oversized. You know, it obviously caught in one or two little places and just took that one or two little chips of metal out of the existing thread, but I mean there was very, very little, you know. So that did fine for cleaning the thread out on a blind hole, and that's the reason I purchased this set, just so I could basically clean out these holes properly, both here and on the movable jaw in there. So anyway, not impressed. The tap wrench, it's just as shoddy as the die holder. The movement of the clamping mechanism inside there, it's smooth, but it's only smooth because it's rattling loose. There's a massive amount of wiggle room there, you can see it, yeah. Now this seems to be par for the course in a lot of tools you get these days. It's just this crap is becoming acceptable, and that's becoming the norm. And that would never have been the case back in the day. That would have been possibly on guides, or at least have some sort of shoulder for it to run along, so that when it clamps onto the tap, it would clamp in a secure manner. Because what happens with this is you're constantly retightening it as you're using it. You're doing a couple of turns and tightening it up because it's working loose. Then you're doing a couple of turns and tightening it up again. Just shit, utter shit. So, Tool Zone, not the best brand in my opinion. You know, fucking hell, what am I saying? That's obvious. I would say somewhere on par with the likes of Silverline or Powerfix. You know, the Lidl's brand, Powerfix. Is it? I don't know if that's the Lidl's brand actually. I think Parker is the Lidl's brand for their power tools, and maybe Powerfix is their sort of hand tool brand. But I would say it's around that sort of budget, sort of customer sort of target, you know. So yeah, anyway, before I rant any more about taps and dies, this is where we are with the actual vise itself. It's been mostly most of the corrosion now has been removed. What you're seeing down here is actually some red oxide, which I'm going to take off yet, but I've run out of little wee grinding wire wheels for the Dremel, so I'm waiting for them to come home now. The bolts for the holding the jaws on, they've actually come home, but I've been a little remiss in my measuring, and I've got 1.5 inch bolts home, and I think 1.5 inch is going to be too long. Yeah. This is an inch bolt, and it certainly bottoms out in all 4 holes. But I think 1.5 inch is just, you know, 1.5 inch sticks out by about that much, which is going to be too much to adequately clamp the jaws. So I think what I'm really wanting is 1.25 inch, but I doubt if I'll find them for a reasonable price. They're too niche, you know. So I'm just going to go with inch bolts, and I've ordered up another 4 of them. This one would probably do, but I'll just get 4 matching, you know. So that's all good to go now. You know, all these holes are running sweet. The threads are, you know, all clean and oiled, so that goes in perfect all the way down to the shoulder. I don't know if the camera can see that with the dark shadow, but that's going all the way down to the shoulder without any issues at all. I've also got a set of O-rings coming home. I ordered up a little pack of O-rings from an eBay supplier, and they only had they had the right diameter, but the cross section of the O-ring was only 1/16 of an inch, and that's not enough. I need about 1/8 of an inch. So I phoned them back and they accepted the return, but they couldn't replace the order with 1/8 cross section. They just didn't have it. So they're just one of these hobbyist stores, I think. You know, they don't sort of supply to the actual industrial chain. So I've got a wee bit of paint that'll do yet. What I've decided to do here is I've masked this off as neatly as possible in a sort of circular sort of design, so that the flat area for the washer and nut to clamp down on is even the whole way around, you know. So there'll be no paint on that area, just so that when you put a washer on a nut, it'll have a nice flat surface. That's obviously been machined, so I'm just going to leave that area machined. Same with this one in the front, and I've done the same as here on this side. So that's all coming on. I've had a wee inspection of the brass bushing in here. It's not particularly good. You can see some of the big score marks in there when they've drifted the spindle out. You know, I don't know if you remember, but in one of my other videos I described how the end of the spindle here had been mushroomed out or balled over, and when they've gone and removed it, they haven't degreased it maybe, or I don't know why they would have to smack this so hard to mushroom that over. You know, I don't fathom that, unless the collar and the pin were obscured by paint, and they just thought that it would slip off, and they've just come in it hard with a hammer until it's burst the pin or burst the collar possibly, and then by that point this has been damaged, and when they hammered it through, the raised areas here, which I've now dressed away, have actually just gone through and scored the bore, as you can see there. You know, this it's on both sides, I believe. You'll not see it with the shadow here, but you'll see it there, look, and there's another one up here somewhere too. So disappointed in that, but there's still plenty of bearing surface there for the shaft to run on, and these grooves could maybe be a sort of like a grease, a greasing mechanism. You know, if I rub grease in there before I assemble it, that'll hold the grease and help grease the shaft. Although I think this should really be oil and not grease that's in here. You know, going by the oil bottle there. So that's ready. The jaws have all been cleaned up. Not perfect, but they'll do at that. I think it's an old vise. I'm not going to put too much in. Well, I'd like to replace the jaws, to be honest with you. That's what I want to do, but how much is it going to cost me? It'll get, I don't know what that would be, maybe 41.40, something like that. And I don't know if I've got the tooling really to machine this sort of grade of steel. And then finally, of course, we've got the hold on here, I shouldn't have put that jaws up there first. This has all been cleaned up, the threads in there, and the front face here, and it's all been given a paint. So hold on. Right, just 1 second there, folks. Right, okay. I've got the thread started, so you can see here what happens because of the collar, yeah? Because of the collar's missing, and I haven't made one yet. When I turn it, it just pulls the handle into this. Yeah. Now I'm going to run out of time in about 45 seconds, but as long as I keep a positive pressure backwards, that runs quite free. It's quite, you know, quite nice. So it's all coming along. By the next video, hopefully I'll have the collar made and have the rest of the painting completed, including the enamelling, and have the jaws back in place, and that should really be about finished at that point. So yeah, I haven't really put that much work into it, but I've spent £13 on the tap and die set and a £5 on bolts and stuff, so it's adding up. Right, I've got to go. Bye for now.